Hey YouTube, this is Dan making another vid. If you love my content, please consider hitting the like button. Also, please consider subscribing, as it is very much appreciated. Okay, had a requested video and happy to do it. Tonteldoos. I think that's how the South Africans pronounce it. Anyway, obviously, I've done videos about them before and I really like them. As you can see, I've made a few up. I've got many more of them. They are a traditional South African tinderbox made of copper or brass, and they normally filled them with rope, mop, cotton mop, char. So they would put cotton mop heads, the strands of mops down in them, because that was the only cotton available to the blokes over in South Africa, easily, cheaply available to them, and they would put it into it, and then they would char it. Now this one actually has punkwood in it, and I charred the end of it, and it's also made from 3/4 or inch round with the caps on it. I really like these ones because it's got a rubber ring around it and it seals them up really well. You also notice I've put a spark wheel on the outside of it with a Ranger band and some waxed jute on most of them. Now this was the original one I did. That's the original version. I think that one's empty at the moment. I haven't put anything in it. Now I just drill holes in them. I saw Mike Reed do a version. He went to the trouble of soldering a thing on there. I'm no welder or solderer. I just drill the ends, put a shock cord on it. The original ones were brass, 2 end caps, a soldered loop on the end, and then they had a oval striker, and then a piece of a gun flint. So that was the entire tinderbox, and then it was filled with charred the cotton from the mops, or any other cotton that they could get their hands onto. But most of the research I looked into, they said they used cotton from the mop heads. Now I tried to get mop heads from here in Australia, and they were $40 for a mop head for a 100% cotton. I bought one, and then it turned out that they had a polyester blend in it. So even though they said it was 100% cotton, it didn't char, so it was a waste of money. Anyway, I originally made, see that one there? That's got punkwood in it as well, but I haven't charred any of it. I originally made one, yeah, that one. It's got char cloth all the way through. They're probably the best ones out of all of them, is the ones with char cloth in them. They work really well. You'd think the char cloth would burn up very quickly, but they don't. I think they work the best out of all of them. I just roll up the char to fit it a little bit bigger, because the char cloth shrinks, and then just feed it in once it's all done, and they work really well, the char cloth. Then the spark wheel, is an excellent idea. You just buy the spark wheels and put them on, and then if you don't have the flint and steel to strike onto it, you can always use the spark wheels just to spark onto it. Yeah, that's going. And then you just get your tender bundles going without making yourself go giddy in the head. I have found the Tonteldoos is quite difficult to use in the traditional manner. When you put the lids back on it, they go out. Using them with flint and steel, that will keep going if I fed oxygen into it. Didn't bring my bare bones out. Have found, always found these a little bit difficult. To be difficult to use with flint and steel. Hence I came up with a version with the spark wheels on. That was going. That is going. You can see it smoking. And then you just blow it into flame as per normal, but I'll just put that out. They're a fantastic idea. Practicality, I have used them, but with flint and steel, they are a viable option. If you fool around with them enough, you get to use them. A bit of hagstone with a hole in it. You'll find a lot of hagstone. That's a piece of hagstone. It'll have holes in it. You could probably put a hagstone, run the thing around, and then you have the oval, because they traditionally came with an oval striker because it had a hole in the middle. Then you've got the flint and steel, flint with it, the tinderbox, and the stone, all in the one thing, and they are self-contained little tinderbox. They're a brilliant idea, but sometimes I found driving sparks into that little area was very difficult with flint and steel, because you had to try and manipulate the stone and drive the sparks specifically in that little area. That's why I went over to the bigger boxes. I found even inch, if you can get 25 mil, ones with the caps, they are good. But trying to buy copper or brass tubing and then the end caps, it became so expensive. That was the main thing. And then you'd buy a flint wheel, like a spark wheel, the copper tubing, end caps. They end up $15 to $20 each, and they were just too expensive. I was giving them away at one stage, but yeah, I found the economics of giving them away were like, if you included that with a flint and steel, like, you're looking at $100 package, and I wasn't independently wealthy enough to be able to do that. So yeah, fantastic. If you can get all the stuff for really cheap, yeah, go for it. I was buying the tubing, the thin tubing, and the end caps were only $2. The thin tubing was $16 for a metre and a half of it. It's not too bad. But once you step up into the bigger tubing, and then the end caps are a little bit more expensive, you add a spark wheel onto it. Yeah, it started to get a bit expensive for it. So yeah, and as you saw, you have to work a bit harder. They're a fun project. I would definitely make one up just to say that you've got one. And a lot of people haven't ever seen one before. And, they're a good talking point and that. And just for your own use, like, just have one in your kit. And I'd suggest making a big one up. Just you can get 30 centimetre or 20 centimetre tubing on eBay. Fair enough, it'll probably cost you $20. But you'll make two up, and then get the end caps. They only cost you a couple of dollars each. So it'll probably cost you $20, and you'll be able to make up two. So all up, you'll probably end up costing you $30 to make two tinder boxes up. You don't necessarily have to add the spark wheels, but I think they're a classier build with the spark wheels on, and they just add an extra versatility to the tinderbox. So yeah, and the spark wheels aren't that expensive. They're only about $5 on eBay. Little UTS ones, they would probably be even better. They're a micro wheel. So yeah, I don't know, but they're a little bit more expensive again too. Anyway, Michael wanted to see about the Tonteldoos, and yeah, I have fooled around with them a fair bit, but yeah, I like them. I don't want this video to come off like that. But I've found the inherent weaknesses of them, and there are, once you start playing with them a bit, you'll find for yourself, especially if you're trying to light them the traditional way, they are somewhat problematic to get lit using flint and steel. Just in the manipulation of the stone and trying to orientate the sparks into the especially if you're using a thinner stock of them. But there are ways of getting around it. You just have to persevere with them and try and work around it. It is possible, as you saw. I've worked around it, but it's just a matter of fooling around with it. Just look up Tonteldoos or South African tinderbox on eBay, on Google. It'll go through. There's actually a name of a town in South Africa, and that's where I think they got the name from it. And you'll see the traditional ones. And if you wanted to make a true to the traditional one, yeah, you can buy the gun flints or make them yourself if you no. But the gun flints are really small. I would then put a Ranger band on it, put the gun flint in the Ranger band around it, so that secures the Ranger gun flint to the tinderbox. Get yourself an oval, and then secure it via a chain, a brass chain. Just buy a brass chain from eBay, and if you're into solder welding, because you just solder weld a little loop here on either end. Don't do it with shock cord like I have. But anyway, yeah, it's just a discussion on Tonteldoos. And as far as I know, because I looked it up, because I could never pronounce it, that's apparently how they pronounce the South African tinderbox. Thanks for watching.